What's up, everybody? How you doing today? My name is Germaine, owner of Exposures Photography, and today I'm going to talk to you about the equipment that I use to capture beautiful photos. Let's go. First and foremost, the first thing that you have to have is a creative mind. You know, the beauty of that is you can develop more creativity as you go. But in order to translate that creativity over to your photos, you have to have a basic understanding of how to use the camera in manual mode. Now, some people feel as though they can use the camera in auto and still achieve the same results. And who's to say? I'm not really one who thinks that way. I believe that there is an importance to learning how to use your camera in manual mode, because the great thing about manual mode is that you have full control. If you let the camera pick and choose the shutter speed and the aperture and the ISO and so on and so forth, you might not get the outcome that you actually would want. But if you know how to manipulate those settings fast in manual mode, then at that point in time, at the drop of a dime, you can actually have an idea, and change those settings accordingly, and then you can capture that image in real time wherever you are. So that's the first thing. You have to have, well, I take that back, that's the first two things. You have to have a creative mind, as well as you have to have a basic knowledge on how to use your camera in manual mode. Okay, y'all, for my number 3 and my number 4 most important pieces of equipment that I use in my photography business would hands down have to be my camera and the lens. I remember about 5 years ago, I think I was in the business for about 1.5 years at that point in time, or 2 years, or whatever it was. And the first camera that I actually purchased was a Canon T3i, I'm sorry. And man, I shot a whole lot of sessions using that camera. You just don't understand. So when the Canon 70D came out, I told my wife, I said, look, I think this camera costs about $1,002, $1,003, or whatever it is. If we buy this camera, then it's going to take my photography to a whole nother level. She was like, all right, cool, let's roll. So at that point, I purchased the camera body itself. I didn't purchase any lenses, because at that point in time, I didn't realize the importance of the lens that I use on my camera. So I used the standard kit lens that I was previously shooting with my Canon T3i to save money. Well, I shot for a couple months using that, and a Sigma 50 millimeter 1.4 came out. And I told my wife, I said, you know what, I want to upgrade to a prime lens. I think this lens right here would be pretty good. I can't remember if I used it on somebody else's camera one day or if I rented it. I don't know. But all I know was we spent the money on it. And back then, I think the lens was like $1,000, maybe like $1,100. So it was almost around the same cost as the Canon 70D that I bought. But man, when I tell you, once I put that lens on that camera, it made the camera look like a completely different camera in regards to the quality that came from it. I mean, I shot so many sessions using just that 50 millimeter on that Canon 70D. And when I tell you, to this day, that taught me right there the significance of the lens that you use versus the camera. You can take any camera body to a certain extent. I don't want to say any, but like for the most part, generally speaking, you can take a standard camera, and if you put an expensive or a high grade quality piece of glass on that camera body, it will transform your images. And right now I'm actually recording this video on the Canon 5D Mark IV, and I just love the quality of that. The lens I have on here is a Canon 24 to 105. I think the aperture is a 4. As you can see, I shoot a lot of my sessions with my Sony a7 R3, and if you look at it, I hope you guys can see this. This is the same Sigma lens I bought 5 years ago. This is the 50 millimeter that I told you guys about, and this lens, for the most part, when I look online, it's still about $1,000. It might be like $950 or something like that. But man, when I tell you, when I put this lens on this camera. When I first purchased this camera, I bought the adapter for it, the Sigma adapter. Man, I'm telling you, man, this thing fires fast. It doesn't hunt. I mean, it's like perfect. And I'm saying that to say, that's a 5-year-old lens. If I put that lens on my Canon 5D Mark IV, I'm going to get the same exceptional quality. I'm gonna be honest with you. If I put it on my old Canon T3i, I'm sorry, I gotta think about the names of these cameras. If I put it on my old Canon T3i, it's gonna take the quality of the image from that camera to a whole nother level. So again, that's just another prime example of how you can take a lens that is a pretty good piece of glass and put it on a range of cameras and still get exceptional quality. Okay, the next piece of equipment that I would love to talk about is Photoshop. I use Photoshop in 99% of my edits. I mean, I have Lightroom. I started out using it, but I didn't like the whole deal of doing the edit here and then you got to transition it back to Adobe Photoshop to tweak it and add certain things. So, you know, like for a long time I used Lightroom, but once I learned about Camera Raw in Photoshop, oh yeah, I mean, like it was over for me. Like we say down here in Baton Rouge, it was dead game. You know, I love Photoshop because you can edit your image as well as you can do any other thing. You can add text, you can do whatever you want to do. Hey, you know, I mean, I even do my color grading and everything in Photoshop, one-stop shop. I don't have to leave out of the program, and I'm still using the older version and it's still, you know, like solving all of my needs. So yeah, Adobe Photoshop is one program that I use every day, and I would recommend it to anyone who is looking to get started or get better at editing photos. The next piece of equipment I would love to tell you guys about, I use this on a daily basis, and it has really changed my editing life. Let me show you. This is the Deco XP Pen. You see this? It's a graphic tablet pad that you use in conjunction with your computer. So you know how, excuse me, you know how when you're trying to make an edit, you know, and like you're using your mouse, but you can't really get the movement like how you would want to get the movement? Well, this solves all of those issues right here. You see this right here? It operates off of USB as well as it comes with the cable right here. It charges the tablet so that you can operate it via USB. And the stylus, you see this pen right here? It comes with a whole bunch of different tips. I've been using this same tip for about, I think, a year and a half now, and I haven't had to change it. You can actually control your zoom and a whole bunch of other features from the pen itself, as well as you can use this to scroll. You can program these buttons. I mean, this thing is a virtual blessing, trust me. And the beautiful thing about it, it only costs $100. I think I paid $105 on Amazon or something like that. So this is great, trust me. Once you use an editing tablet, you will put your mouse to the side. The only time I use my mouse basically is when I'm trying to do something with layers or something like that, just to move a little bit faster. But you can also use your pen as a substitute for your mouse. So I mean, it's great, it's wonderful, and trust me, it will take your editing to a whole nother level. The next thing I would love to tell you guys about is my cell phone. You see this? Newsflash, I am not an iPhone user. I do not use Apple products. I just don't. I don't see the need. This Android Samsung phone does everything I need it to and so much more. I use this to upload my photos. I even use it to edit some images sometimes too as well. Like whenever I'm on the go, they have a dope app in the Samsung store. Trust me, if you download this app and if you get value out of it like I do for editing on the go, please feel free to cash at me $1. The name of the app is Polar. It's P-O-L-A-R-R. And when I tell you, it's the mini version of Photoshop for your cell phone. It's super dope. But yeah, you know, like when I'm editing images, when I'm uploading images to Instagram, you know, TikTok or whatever it may be, I use my cell phone for that. And man, when I tell you this thing is a beast, I love it. And you know, I stay within the Samsung family because I love the quality and the upgrades as well as the features that they use that Apple tends to steal, like 5 and 6 phones later, but you know, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, my cell phone is something very important that I use. So in conclusion, I appreciate you guys taking the time out to listen to this video. I truly believe that my top items that I use in my photography business that I've told you guys about, if you look into them, they will completely change your life. You know, of course you have to have a creative mindset, but in order to bring that creativity out and take it to a whole nother level, you have to have a basic understanding of how to use your camera in manual mode. Next, you have to have a camera and a camera lens. I would say a great camera lens, but I'll say a camera lens if you guys are just starting out. Next, I use Adobe Photoshop for my editing, as well as I use my Deco XP Pen, to assist me when I'm editing on Photoshop. And lastly, in order to upload those images to Instagram and the World Wide Web when I'm on the go, I use my Samsung Android phone. So I have a plethora of other items that I could talk about today, but in order to keep this video as short as possible and to help you guys start shooting faster, I'm going to stop right there. So please follow me on this channel. You can look me up on Instagram at Germaine Grimes. That's at GermaineGrimes. And I also have a website, www.germainegrimes.com. I also teach people virtually as well as in real time how to become better photographers. So if you're interested in taking one of my courses, please click the link in my bio under this video. And also you can find me at my website and on my personal Instagram too as well. If you would like to check out some of the pictures that I've taken, please follow me on Instagram at Exposures. That's at EXPROSURES. With all things, I'm sorry guys. With all things, I would like to tell you guys to keep God first and keep shooting, keep practicing, and keep learning your equipment. And trust and believe. It's a slow grind, but that grind will pay off for you eventually, as long as you keep God first and keep on working, okay? So I hope you guys have a blessed day. Peace.